You're really focusing on the hard part, gaining executive buy-in, culture change, and closing the gap between data strategy, PowerPoint decks, and executing measurable outcomes. In your work, what do you see as the biggest challenge for CDOs or CEOs who are truly trying to transform data into AI?
Well, first one that is, especially with AI and all the hype we had since ChatGPT came out. But the hype actually existed before that as well. I don't know if you remember, there was a time when data science and data scientist was the hottest profession. I mean, now they're called AI developers, then it was data science teams. And there was that sense that data science, artificial intelligence, it's a magic that there isn't a requirement to have foundations in place because it will fix it somehow magically. So that's the very first one, that now we have this new thing and we keep hoping for it. Actually, in today's post, I did again yet another post on how AI doesn't really help you get the results if you don't have the data. And somebody in the comments brought up, yeah, we had the same problem in big data. Like, yep, I remember that. Like a lot of people, who came of age more recently may not remember the time when big data was the magic that was going to fix all the problems we had around small data. Of course, it didn't. And now friend of mine has a project called Data Sewer, and it's a data lake cleaning project. And, I used to use sewer as overstatement, but that's actually the name of the project. So now then we move to data science, then to AI. So that expectation that is going to be magic, that's going to fix the data. And the reason is because it's actually very hard. And it's not even, some things actually hard technically, but we do hard technical things. Like data science, doing modeling is not easy either. But the biggest thing is the cultural change and how you think about your business, how you think about your business process, how do you make decisions, how do you prioritize things. So that's one of the major things that I have seen now with AI. The second one is thinking of AI that's something that's separate from data digital technology. Again, that it's kind of a separate, and you have AI strategy, and then over there, business strategy, and maybe somewhere you have your data strategy. And I talk about it in the book, From Data to Dollars. AI is a data capability, incredibly powerful one, but the same way you would have BI strategy separately from your data strategy, you shouldn't have AI strategy separate from your data strategy. It's part of it. It's a capability that you can deploy to get value, but it's not a separate thing. And I've now seen it actually quite a bit. You have AI strategies or roadmaps that are based on RPA thinking. Mm-hmm. So especially with agentic. And honestly, for majority of the companies who've tried RPA, it didn't really work. And it wasn't because of the tools weren't good. It was more because, again, you need to have data and you need to standardize your business processes for RPA to work. And exactly the same thing is true for AI. So I see it sometimes. I'm like, oh yeah, I know where you're going with this. And it's just, unless you do really hard work with both business processing, which is hard, that's culture change, and data, AI agents, agentic workflow is not going to be any more useful than RPA. So those are two major things that I'm seeing that get in the way.
So let's stay on that theme. Specifically in your latest book, Data for Dollars, you mentioned that data only really matters if it can be translated into revenue, cost, and I believe risk outcomes was the third lever you mentioned. For CEOs and CDOs that are listening today who are stuck right where you just mentioned, what's the first concrete move they can make to start literally turning data into dollars?
This is going to be interesting.
I know it's not a simple question.
It's not. No, but it's also, the answer is going to be not go do something with your data. the first question, define what do you want to achieve as a business. So that's another one. I have another friend, and we were talking about data strategy that she was putting together. And I said, well, what's the business strategy? And she said, well, our business doesn't have a strategy. The strategy is,
Wow.
I mean, very generically, well, we keep doing what we are doing and we'll make more money doing it. That's not so if business doesn't have a strategy, then there is not much, you can't turn data into dollars, because if you don't know what is your business strategy of getting the dollars, trying to do something find interesting with data or AI is not going to help you because you don't know why. You first have to have a business strategy for specific ones. What are you doing in terms of getting more customers or retaining customers? What are you doing in terms of product innovation? What are you doing in terms of getting your customers buying more of your product? If you're going for efficiency, how are you achieving efficiency? Not generally, we need to be more efficient. Okay, how? There are many, many, many ways to achieve more efficiency. So till you know what exactly you're doing from business strategy perspective, and it needs to, usually businesses that do have strategies, they have them across all of those things that that I identify in my book, all the levers, all the pillars. So that's the very first thing. So if you're a CEO and you want to use data or you want to use AI to move your business forward, the first piece is, so what's your business strategy to move your business forward? And if you can't answer that, there is no magic in the world that AI data will do for you that will somehow magically transform your business.
You've spent time really juggling logic and facts in your career, both with data and analytics initiatives. So why do you think so many very strong and smart leaders struggle to influence and even define business strategy?
So I do think that my companies do have business strategy, but my point is more that this is where you have to start, that you can't have the data or AI. It's part of the business strategy. It doesn't stand on its own. And if it's divorced from it, you're not going to make an impact. So one of the things that I had to learn, because to me, I'm technologist, started with mathematics, moved into technology, moved into data, and I'm very comfortable there. But to influence and to move the agenda, it has, especially around data, it has to align with the priorities of the business. So if your data strategy is a technology platform strategy, and it's not tied to how business thinks and prioritizes, it's not going to succeed. On the other hand, even if you tie, and this is the mistake I have made, you collect the use cases and you kind of have impact on each one of them, but it doesn't build on itself. And again, it doesn't have a strong tie-in into the business strategy.
So there's no synergy.
Yeah. Exactly. You're going to go and do a bunch of things. And then I've had that conversation. Like, this is how I learned it. Like a lot of things I talk about, I learned the hard way. When you have a question saying, okay, so we've spent that much money to get this, and you don't have any answer that, yes, that was the first thing we did. And then we did 5 more things and they brought more and more value, but we wouldn't be able to do this if we didn't do the small one for more money. But most of the time you don't, because if you keep going use cases and you have discrete outcomes, but doing data is expensive unless you're a startup. If you're a startup, it's both cheap and easy. You just have to do it. For any large company, getting data, legacy data under control and useful is usually an expensive proposition. You have to show the outcome that resonates with the business, not like, right. Oh, okay, but I could have done it, hired somebody in low-cost location and they would have done it by hand and I would have spent like fraction of the money. Like, why are they doing what you do?
Do you see themes developing over time in terms of, okay, a data strategy, let's buy Databricks. Let's bring all our data into Snowflake. That's the data strategy, when we know that's not a data strategy. That's just a tool. It's just a tool to drive supposedly business outcomes.
Yeah, that's been in place forever. And I would think by now, I would not have heard we need a data strategy. We need to figure out which data warehouse platform to use. And I heard it recently.
Yeah.
So it's because to the extent it's easier. It's not that it's easy to build a data warehouse, but it's very concrete. Like, here is the steps, and here is what you bring together, and here is what you do. And you can come up with a bunch of use cases. And it's actually, you can make even an efficiency argument, because we'll build reports or AI or data science, and we know where the data is, and it will be much sooner. But still, if you don't know exactly what growth levers or business purpose this addresses, data warehousing is one of data capabilities. You may or may not need it, depending on what you do. So if you say, it's a little bit like if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So it's the same pattern.
It's a great analogy.
This business strategy to capability strategy to technology strategy is not easy, because it makes people think much harder. And I've now seen it even when I teach, and I teach business students. They start with technology, not with the business. And I thought I wouldn't have that problem in MBA program, but still a lot of answers go directly to technology, like our data is not all together. Okay, that's not a business problem. That's a capability problem. But if it were together, what it would solve from the business perspective?
What are the organizations doing in the first 90 days that's right? Like, what does good look like in those first 90 days, Julia?
Understanding what business wants to do, and understanding what capabilities you have currently to do what business wants to do, and where the gaps are. So it's just the steps. And I lay out the steps in the books, in my book, in the second book, From Data to Dollars. But that's basically the first 60 to 90 days. It depends on the size of the company. It may take a lot longer than that. But that's pretty much where you need to start.
So you have to read the book, and they do need to contact you.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
Noted. Yes, I think that's important. If you were advising a CDO or CDO or senior data leader today who really wants to drive more impact but doesn't want to play politics, and it is not a great influencer, let's say, of change, what's the most practical advice that you could give an executive or senior stakeholder based on your experience? Because I heard you say very clearly, most, if not everything that you're teaching and implementing is based on your experience and lessons learned.
Learn how. Chief data officer, chief AI officer job, anything there, it's a change management job first. So it doesn't matter how good you are from technology perspective or from understanding data perspective. Influencing people is huge skill that you have to have. So my
Number one.
advice is learn how to change manage, learn how to influence, or don't go for this type of job. Like I wish there was a better answer. I myself wish there was a better answer, because I had to learn. It's not my native skill. It's not innately that I have influencing and understanding how to align priorities and change management, and just, high IQ is not one of the things that I have. I have to learn how to do this, how to listen, and how to reflect, and how to influence.
Julia, this was fantastic. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to have you on today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.